And welcome to Habs Unfiltered, episode 417. I am your host, Blain and I'm joined now by my co-host, Matt Smith.
Good evening.
Um, so it is Sunday, December 1st. American Thanksgiving is come and gone. Happy Thanksgiving to our American friends and cousins. Um, and the Canadiens are completely out of the picture. So I think it's safe to say that they will not be in the mix.
No, I don't think so. I think that right from the start of the season, the whole in the mix thing came and went very quickly.
Yeah, I think after about 5 games, I think people
Yeah.
understood, not so
Yeah.
much.
Now they're going to be thankful for their position in the standings at the end of the year when they get another top five pick based on how they're playing.
Well, considering the level of talent that's available in that top 10, top 15 this year,
Yeah.
if they might be even able to get two top 15, top 20 picks.
Yeah.
So, uh, silver linings.
Yeah. Accelerate the rebuild.
Eh, well, to be fair, I mean, the two of the players that they've picked very high in the draft are still
That's,
not with the team.
that's
So,
true. That's true. Hage, like not a lot of people are talking about Michael Hage, and he's looking very good in Michigan.
they
So
should.
yeah.
Um, all right. So, we'll cover a bunch of topics. We'll talk a little bit about the weekend that was, and some of the 99 problems that the Canadiens are facing right now. But why don't we just kick it off with a recap of the last couple of games?
Sure.
Uh, I think overall, the Canadiens' effort level this week was pretty good. I mean, there were moments where they kind of collapsed, but they were able to regroup themselves,
But when they
which
collapsed,
when they collapsed,
did they collapse?
yeah. But they were able to regroup and
Yeah.
reattack. So that's something that we didn't see earlier this season.
No, it was a lot of throughout the season, it's been mostly, hey, we let one in.
Mm.
Better luck next game. It's been a lot of that. So
Yeah,
yes, especially against the Rangers, I thought that they had a lot more fight and we'll
yeah.
get into the game as a whole, but
Speaking of fights,
unfortunate way to lose a game, we'll just say that.
yeah, it's hard to win games when you're playing a team and some striped folks that are
Yes.
just fucking awful.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll give it to Martin St. Louis. He got his point across without calling out officiating
He had his
because
Marshawn Lynch moment.
but he went up and he said,
Yeah,
I'm not going to talk about it, but just him saying that, it was
talked about it.
like nudge, nudge. This is the reason why we lost this game, and you can argue that that's why they lost the game.
Well, it's. I mean, it's quite easy to argue that considering the types of calls that were being made. The Anderson penalty for the roughing call. Most people call that body checking.
Yes, that was much. That was if they were to call that every game, you would just see people in the box every 30 seconds. So that was bullshit. And
Yeah,
talking about Anderson quick, um, him dropping the gloves to Truba. Truba's a tough customer. I'll give him that. And a lot of people were pissed off that it was Matheson is the one that went after Truba during that hit on Barron, but he was the guy that was on the ice and he was the one that stepped up. Good on him for doing so. Obviously a size mismatch, but I'll say good on Truba for stepping up as he knew what was coming.
yeah,
This is the second fight that I can think. I know he's fought more than twice, I believe, this year in Anderson, but he did it with Tom Wilson, another guy that's really, really tough when it comes to you look at some of the heavyweights in the league, and for him to step in there with Truba and put on a hell of a fight,
yeah.
like he's playing in a role that's more suited for him, and I think he's looked a lot better. So, hats off to Anderson for doing so.
Well, and it's like an old school tilt as well.
Yeah.
Like it was a throwback. It was uppercuts and haymakers, and it
Yeah.
was more than 3 seconds and then
Yeah.
tackle a guy kind of
That's right.
fight that we see
Yeah.
nowadays. It
Yeah.
was the old style fights.
Yeah. They got separated and then they're like, hey, let's go again. Right.
Yeah. And when you keep in mind too, like he's playing that role, he's playing that hard forecheck role, north south, like he was before when he was really, really producing well.
Yeah.
He's on pace for 35 points this year. Uh, 14 goals, 20 some odd assists. I mean, if he can continue with that and uh, continue with being near the top of the team lead in hits like he is right now with Heineman,
Yeah.
well, why not?
Yeah. They also need somebody that's going to play that style,
Yeah,
because they're missing that physicality from a guy like Pizzetta.
they are.
Pizzetta's played what, 3 games this year? He's
Yeah,
obviously not in the plans of this team moving forward, and it's quite easy to see that. He's been the extra almost every game this year, and he was a guy that brought energy to that fourth line and kind of gave them a little bit of identity and a little bit of hey, when he's on the ice, look out because he's going to finish his checks from the 30 the 40-second shift that he's going to take. You got to keep your head up because he's going to come
yeah,
in there and finish you, and it doesn't matter who he's playing against. He's going to finish his checks. Yet we haven't seen that this year because they haven't played him.
true. But again, like you said, he's really not in their plans. And when you look at the fourth line, Heineman's been there pretty much the whole year,
Yeah.
and he's providing that style a
With
little
with
bit
how he's playing right
with
now,
goals.
you could argue that he shouldn't be on the fourth line. And I
I
don't.
agree.
He's getting fourth line minutes. I don't know if we can necessarily call that a fourth line at this point, but he's getting fourth line minutes.
And he played extremely well this weekend against the Rangers and again against Boston, where he scored a goal,
Yeah.
a nice one, big, heavy one timer from above the faceoff circles. Um, but back to the Ranger game, I mean, you've got a game where the Canadians were really, really taking it to the Rangers physically.
Yeah.
The intensity level was there for an afternoon game at that.
Yeah.
I was impressed with that level of intensity. They they kind of got screwed a little bit, but it's not really uh, the fault of the referees that they lost. In the end, the Rangers are just a better team. I mean, they're built for the playoffs to go long.
Right.
The Canadians
They're
are
a
still
team
rebuilding.
they're a team that's been struggling quite a
Yeah,
bit,
yeah.
and they took full advantage of a struggling team in the Canadians as well as getting some freebies from the refs.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And the
Because at the end
Canadians'
at the at the
penalty kill didn't help.
at the end of the day, yes, those calls were made, and we can say that they were bullshit, and we can say that there was a missed call at the end of the game in Armia,
Yep.
but the calls were made and they were unable to kill the penalties. So yes, part of the reason, yes, the refs gave them those opportunities, but at the same time, the Canadians were unable to kill the opportunities.
At the same time, though, seeing that kind of uh, issue come up, something that would have caused the Canadians to collapse earlier in the season. Like I said earlier, they were able to push back and still compete. And you look at like Dach has been getting shit on most of the season, but in the
Yeah.
last little while, this last week, he's really started to come on physically, and you saw it in that Rangers game
So I
where
saw
he
it in the
just
Rangers
did
game.
let up.
Saw it in the Rangers game, and his hit on Berard there that he
Yes,
like destroyed his shoulder. Like, yeah, I know he's a lot bigger than
sadly.
him, but he hit him and he was like, "Oh, he's gonna hit me. I'm gonna go back and hit him back." And he definitely hit him. I like seeing that, but again with Doc, it's the penalty at the end of the game that he took that everyone's gonna talk about because it led to the goal against.
Honestly, I'm not going to get too up in arms about that kind of penalty. That's a penalty that he got based on his aggressive attack. Yeah,
Yes.
it's a mistake, 100%. But the fact that he was where he was, battling for the puck where he was, is something we didn't see earlier in the season.
No.
I'll take a penalty from effort, just a mistake, than a lazy penalty
Right.
anytime.
Right.
And that's what it was. He wasn't taking a lazy penalty. It's just one of those unlucky. He tried to lift the stick and it missed, and or the guy wasn't holding it enough, and it hit him in the. It's unfortunate, and it happened. But Doc was there. He was battling. He was net front, not just in that game, but in the Boston game as well.
Right.
Constantly going to the net. If he does this consistently, I think he's going to come out of his funk and start producing a lot more.
He's gonna need to soon. He's gonna
Yeah,
need to
yeah,
because they got to get the lines back to lines that work
Yeah.
because it's not happening right now. Like the last couple games, it's been Suzuki and Caulfield, and that's really all it's been.
Pretty
And
much.
then whoever they're throwing in on that line, and I'm gonna say put Slafkovsky back on the top line.
Yeah. Now
I've said it multiple
yeah,
times. I'm gonna continue to say it until it happens.
I agree with you. I mean, he deserved the demotion when he got it. And since the demotion,
But he got the demotion coming back from an injury. He returned from injury and Doc had a spot. And they even said, "Oh yeah, Doc's only going to be there for a little bit." And he was. But then after the fact, because they were trying to get Doc going and everything, they just never put him back on there. Then he played some time with Evans and he played some time with this person and that person. And now with the Anderson Doc line, they looked awful, right? They
yeah.
did. Like they were like today against Boston, they were the worst line that they had.
No argument here, but when I was talking about more is his demotion to the fourth line, where
That
he's kind of
yes.
with these two
Yes.
now. Um, but I think he's earned his way back up the lineup. I've had people, tweet or blue sky at me about Slav, and they're questioning his overall IQ and his play. You got to keep in mind this is a big kid. Big kids take a little bit more time. He's still just 20 years old.
Yep.
I mean, my God, it's just it's going to be his third season by the end of this year. So, and he's still producing well. I mean, it's not like he's not
He still
providing
is. He's like
offense.
third in the team in scoring or something like that, right?
He is, yeah, he's third on the team with 14 points in 20 games played, and that puts him on pace for. I'm just bringing it up now. Puts him on pace for over 50. It puts him on pace for 55 points, which is
Right.
better than he was last year.
Right.
Now, the bar is set a lot higher for him for this year.
Oh,
It's
absolutely it
not
is.
just the production; it's that physicality. The goals that we saw where he was on the forecheck and he created opportunity. The Buffalo game,
Yep.
he generated those two goals for Suzuki. That's the Slafkovsky that we need to see.
Oh, agreed. Agreed. Yeah. I just find he plays his best hockey there. And for me, I think that it gets in his head
Yeah,
when he's playing with the top players. He's like, hey, the coach trusts me to be there. When he's not playing with those guys, I just don't think the effort level's there, unfortunately. And you want to see it there all the time, but you got to think he's still a young guy. And
not to mention,
he can
yeah,
see how he played with them last year and it being one of the better lines in hockey the second part of the year. And then for him just to be taken off that line, he could probably see it as a demotion, 100%.
and he does play better with those more talented, more skilled players.
Yeah.
Um, the problem though was he wasn't shooting enough earlier in the year. Now he's starting to shoot a lot more.
Starting to, but
Yeah,
he's only averaging like a shot a game, which is insane.
well, he was like zero point 0.1 shots a game at the start of the year, but
Yeah. Yeah.
um, for people to respect to give him the space so that he can make a nice pass,
Right.
they have to respect the shot. And if you're not shooting, they don't have to do that. They can cheat onto the pass.
Yeah.
So he needs to shoot more just so that he can start opening up some ice.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So the Rangers game, yeah, as unfortunate as the outcome was, they did provide an excellent effort the entire way through. Sometimes there was mistakes. Oh, there were mistakes, but the effort was there. And now the Boston game today, after a 100-year long ceremony for the 100 years, the
Yeah.
bicentennial ceremony is about to start soon. That's how long that was.
Yeah.
That was so long. People complain about Montreal.
Yeah.
Holy
It was, you
shit.
know what? It was a long ceremony. But I don't mind how they did it. It was a little bit
Oh,
long,
no, it was good. It was
but
good.
it was nice that they brought in guys from different eras and how they kind of presented it. And it was nice to see some of those players on the ice. And I do get it. It was a little bit long. However,
Yeah.
Boston used that and came out and played hard in the first period, let alone or unlike the Canadiens that had a ceremony earlier this year and they got fucking toasted on home ice right afterwards.
That is true.
Right? So this was their opportunity to come out and play hard after a game against the Rangers that they showed effort. And yes, they were probably screwed over by the refs, but this was an opportunity to say, okay, we're gonna play spoiler here, and we're gonna play a hard at least first period against these guys. And you know what they did? Let up 3 goals in a minute and 10 seconds.
Well, we'll get to that here in a second, but I had one idea when it came to these long, long ceremonies. If you're going to have them, sure, have them. I mean, as long as that was, and it was fucking long, the Bruins did put on a good show for their fans.
They did.
The issue is the players sit there for the entire time and get
Right.
cold. So
Right.
why not just do it, have them do a couple laps, sit on the bench, do the thing, and then have the real full warm up.
I think they still had to warm up. They still had to warm up. Miss Marchand was part of the ceremony. They still had to warm up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they had the warm up prior to the ceremony, and then they had the ceremony. Then they did a little bit of a quickie, but like do the full thing. Just put the ceremony at the start, and then regular game after.
Right.
But anyway, so to that first period, I don't really have much to say against the skaters in that first period. I thought they all played fairly well. There were some issues, yes, but the biggest issue I thought was Primo's focus, especially over a period of about a minute and 10 seconds at around the 11:50 mark.
Right. I'll say the first goal was definitely on him. You could see
Yeah,
from a mile away that he
yeah,
overplayed that, and the wraparound was there for the taking, and that's what he went for.
yeah.
That was a tough one. But the lead up to that goal with Matheson losing the puck and losing
Oh,
position
yeah.
and everything like that,
Beautiful
and
assist.
then Joshua Roy trying, instead of going up the boards, trying to pass it to center ice, and that getting intercepted as well. That whole span of about a minute and 10 seconds, you can blame everybody on the ice, because if you look at the footage, they had 5 men back every time. They had 5 guys around the net, and 5 guys didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah, and that seems to be a bit of an issue. Like, I know I'm not really putting a ton of blame on the guys for this short period. I mean, Primo does own quite a bit of
He
amount of
does. He
the blame
does.
on it,
He
but you're
does.
right. These guys really need to start cleaning up their defensive game, and it's not really a long term thing. It's just they seem to completely lose focus that when they let up a goal and they don't come back out and they don't have
Yep.
that mentality to push back right
Yep.
away.
But what I didn't like is the first goal that was scored by McAvoy.
Yeah.
Then they were like, let's just keep the same guys out there. And they
Yeah.
sent they put Matheson out there again with
Yeah.
Hudson, which again, that defensive pairing does not work. It was very, very rough tonight. I think Matheson was a -3 or a -4. It was a -4 and Hudson was a -3. The line doesn't work. You've got 2 offensive guys that want to jump up into the play that don't really want to play defense, and it showed tonight. But more to my point, put the same guys out there, goal was scored. And then 15 seconds later, they were like, oh, let's change the lines up. 15 seconds later, it's in your net again. But again,
Yeah.
each time they had the opportunity to clear a puck or to shore up their defense or play whatever the hell system that they have. All 5 guys were back and nobody picked up the guy with the puck. And they weren't going to get any help from the guy in net. And it's been the same story this whole season with Primo.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, here's the thing. Um, there's a lot of talk of like I saw you posted online today as well to just waive him or get rid of him in some way, shape, or form. And it's gonna happen. It's not gonna, I don't think it'll be during the season. I think they're just gonna let him walk. His contract's
He's
up.
probably going to play out the rest of his year, and then that'll be it.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
truly believe that for him to succeed or to find success within the NHL level, he's going to have to start in the AHL again. because
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
see another team giving him a NHL position and being like, "Hey, you're going to be our backup," because he hasn't earned it. He didn't earn it at a training camp. He earned it by default.
Well, there's a lot of teams that need a goalie, with some NHL experience. Like you look at the Colorado Nashville trade the other day.
Yeah.
They're looking for veteran goaltenders,
Yeah.
and this guy's looking for young guys, and back and forth, back and forth. Uh, I think he will get an opportunity to be like a backup somewhere. It's just not going to be Montreal.
No.
I don't think he's in their plans. They've got better coming. I saw, I don't remember who it was.
I
I
would have
think,
strapped
oh,
the
Sean
pads on.
Campbell
I would have strapped the pads on Ken Dryden today. He was at the game, and he
at 70
probably
years
would
old.
have, and he probably would have put in a better effort on.
I think so.
Right? Like
Well,
it's like
yeah,
right. Like I'm not like I'm just. It's just kind of enough is enough. Like it's just when Primo plays, I don't have confidence that the Canadians are going to win the game.
I don't think the
I
Canadians have confidence either.
no, no. And like it's anyone listening right now can probably say, "Well, I'm surprised you have confidence anytime the Canadians play a game." But it's the truth.
Yeah,
When Montembeau's in net, especially lately, Montembeau's looked a hell of a lot better than what he did. He started the season with that shutout. It was like, "Oh
yep.
my God, look at this." Played a couple good games, then reality set in. Now he's starting to come back to the way that he was. Unfortunately, it's probably too late. He probably isn't going to make the Four Nations tournament, but it is what it is. At least even that pressure is now, if he doesn't make the team, that pressure will be off his back that he can just play the game.
Yeah.
But there needs to be some sort of help there, and they need to on back to backs. And we talked about this with next season. They're gonna be playing more games earlier on in the year.
Mhm.
They're gonna be playing more back to backs. They're gonna need somebody that can take some of the pressure off of their starter, whoever that might be.
I want to get to the back to backs here in a second, but uh, with the Primo talk, I saw Sean Campbell say, "Hey, just bring up Dobesh, wave Barron, bring up Mayu."
Right.
While yes, those guys I think would do better, it's not the time to bring these guys up. You don't want to
No,
punish
I wouldn't
Laval.
say not those two. Not those two. No.
You don't want to punish Laval either. They're
No.
doing fairly well.
Yep.
They're going to be a playoff team this year. Let them stay down there for the most part. Let Primo finish off the year here. Dobesh is probably going to move up next year unless they find some veteran goaltender or is a free
Right.
agent that for whatever reason. Um, but yeah, no, it's the year is toast anyway. So just play it out.
Right.
The difference between last year and this year, uh, the goalies were stealing games. Montembeau
Yes. They were
specifically,
playing above expected, 100%.
well
Both
above.
of them. Both of
Now
them.
they're now they're about where they should be, and
Right.
we're seeing the difference.
Yep.
So the
Yep.
team needs to improve to help the goaltending as well.
Yeah.
Now, the hell was I going? I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to come back to something.
All I'm gonna say is it's gonna get worse before it gets better because this is a team that is gonna be is gonna be a seller at the trade deadline, and we're gonna see what just like what happened last year. They're gonna trade off some assets. We saw it when they got rid of Monahan,
Yeah,
but even now going into this year, they still don't have a second line center. Right, right.
true.
So we're pretty much just seeing a continuation of it because it's not like they brought in anybody else any different. It's just
Well,
that we're
everything's a
gonna
future.
exactly. So the only thing that they did is they brought in Patrick Laine, who has yet to play a game, and they brought in Barley Boulet, who played a couple, and now he's been playing in Laval. Other than that, it's the same lineup we saw, other than Heineman and Hudson
True.
when the season was over last year. So no wonder they didn't get any better.
True. Now it's no fault of Laine. He got injured. I think
No,
he's going
it's
to be back
that's it's all
soon
good. I think he'll be, I like to see him play Tuesday against the
against
against
the
the
Islanders.
Islanders. Yeah.
Well, he is on the trip, so we
Yeah.
talked about
Which
this
which
off
which
air.
again, I'm a little surprised that he never played during the trip, but it is what it is.
Um, no, I'm not that surprised. I mean, do you want him playing against the Bruins? in Boston is his first game
True.
back. That's probably not the best idea. But when he does come back, looking at the lineup, I think Roy is the one that's going to be
More
sent
than
back down.
likely. More than likely. Yeah. As you said when we were talking off air, he's waivers exempt, and
Mhm.
he was playing good hockey down there, and he'll get top 6 minutes. Where in Montreal the last two games he's played the least amount of minutes.
Yeah, and that's not how you want to develop your young
No.
guys. You want the young guys to get as much time as possible before they come up. And I think next year is when we're going to see a lot of these young guys start to graduate. Um, but they're still a little ways off. This year, again, this year is a write off. Just let it play out,
Yep.
and we're good to go there. But I want to talk a little bit about Heineman. I wrote about Heineman on the Sick Podcast News Network
Yep.
today, saying that he's earned his way. Well, he's earned more ice time. He's
He
averaging
has.
about 10 minutes,
Yep.
and in those average of 10 minutes, he's tied for team lead in hits. He's he's second in shots per 60. He averages 5 shots a game as it is. I mean, he's got 6 goals now in 22 games.
He
He's
is
on pace for over
four
20 goals.
he's fourth on the Canadiens in goal scoring right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's on pace for over 20 goals after only playing 10 minutes a game.
Yeah.
And he's able to provide that two-way kind of play with some grit. So why not try him up a little higher on a third line, perhaps?
Maybe.
I honestly think that once Armia is gone, he's going to be in that role.
I'd say that. Yeah. I could see that. Like even today, like I'm not gonna shit on Doc anymore, but I would have like towards the end of the game when they had that power play
Yeah.
after Heineman scored that goal, I would have put Heineman on the ice instead of Doc. And we saw when they changed their lines when the whistle happened, Doc left and Gallagher came out, and instantly they got a scoring chance.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe switch that up a little bit, put Doc to a secondary role, but we'll see. But as I said earlier in the show, like the lines are all sorts of fucked up right now.
They
And
are.
when you bring back Patrick Laine, do you want to see him play with Christian Dvorak? Do you want to see him play with Jake Evans? That's probably what's going to end up happening,
Yeah. Yeah. More
right?
than likely
So,
Jake Evans.
right? And like, no, that's no swing at Jake Evans. He's played above expectation, and I can see him play. He's playing more into the team's plans moving forward than what I thought he was going into the year.
Yes.
He's been one of the bright spots. Him, Cole Caulfield, Heineman have been like the three bright spots this year.
Now, I agree he has been a bright spot, but I also have to say that he's been playing well above where he should be.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
is a poor man's third line center or a good fourth line center on most teams. And
Yes.
right
And he's
now,
playing a second line role.
he's played better than Doc, Dvorak, Newhook, right? The guys that are centers, he's played better than all of them.
Now, I think that every line should have a line should be constructed in a way where the players' skill sets complement each other.
Yes.
Like Slafkovsky on the top line, his skill set complements Suzuki and Caulfield. For Laine, who they're going to want on the second line, they need a guy who can get the puck and get it out to him.
Heineman.
They need a guy who can generate offense on the other wing. So yeah, sure, Evans can kind of fill that role. New Hook's a pretty good playmaker.
So I'm just gonna
Laine
look.
needs to be set up.
I'm just gonna look at this here for a second. I'm gonna look at the lineup. Okay. I would
Yeah.
right now say Caulfield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky.
Yeah.
And then I would do Evans with Heineman and Armia or Laine
Mm-hmm.
just for the start. I would put the Dvorak line back together with Anderson and Gallagher. And then I would throw Doc in with, say, New Hook and Armia. That's what I would do as of right now, or say the hell with it and throw Pizzetta in and get some energy going in the goddamn bottom six. But that's what I would do as of right now.
Yeah. I can't
Like,
argue with any of that.
right? So unfortunately, like again, like do I want to see Evans playing with Patrick Laine? Not really, but he's probably the best option because
Probably.
I'm not going to say, hey, struggling Doc, here is a player coming back that hasn't played for X amount of time, just coming back from a bad leg injury. You know all about that. Go on out there and see what we got.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's probably going to be the best to throw him with even a more a couple more defensively responsible players. And again, I would do Evans and Heineman. They've actually shown a little chemistry on that fourth line.
Honestly, yeah, because I think Heineman could be a really good puck retrieval type of player. He'll
Yeah,
go in the corners, dig it out, get it over to Evans, who can dish the puck to
yeah.
Laine,
And
who's
then
going to be able to
and
shoot.
then and then Lion A takes um Doc spot the power play
Yes.
and be like, here you go. Somebody go in front of the net, some big guy like Slafkovsky maybe, and then say, okay, either side, you got Caulfield on this side and you got Laine on the other, and scene. All right, just fucking shoot the puck.
But the good
Or
news is,
or
yeah,
Matheson can just shoot it into people's legs. That works too.
well, yeah, it's a shoot by attrition.
It's right.
Eventually, everyone will be down on the ice, writhing in pain, and he'll
Hey,
finally get that
he
clear
did hit
shot.
he did hit two posts tonight,
It's true.
and he was the main the main catalyst for probably four goals against. But
He just pictured the post being, Boston Bruins legs.
that's right.
No, I don't want to pile on the poor guy. He had a bad game. He knew it.
He
He
did.
faced the music afterwards, so
Yeah.
that's good for him doing that. But out of all the problems the Canadians are facing, you talked about the power play. That's not one of the problems,
No.
which is hard to say, but it's
Yeah.
true.
After so many years of being like, man, they suck.
But they're actually doing pretty well. I mean, they're in the
Yeah.
top half of the league, and now Hudson is on that top unit of the power play, and he's even given almost the entire power play time.
Right. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him being able to feed the puck over to a guy that can really shoot the puck. Like Caulfield can shoot the puck,
Laine.
right? Yeah, exactly. Caulfield can shoot the puck, but it's they know they know it's like when Shea Weber was out there. You don't want to get in front of a Shea Weber shot, but
You know it's coming.
all you had to do is prevent that shot from happening. Take
Yeah.
out all the other guys and then put a bunch of people like double team Weber and the shot wasn't coming through.
And if
And
you have a Caulfield
we're
and
seeing that a
Laine,
lot with Caulfield, right? So
yeah,
now you're gonna have Caulfield and Laine. If Slafkovsky would just shoot more, or even if Suzuki was to shoot more, even to do that little wheel thing that he did
yep.
like almost every game last year, but it worked for him. But we're not seeing it. He's not a threat. It's all go to Caulfield, go to Caulfield. And that's again, that's not a slant. I'm not saying anything bad about Caulfield. He's third in goal scoring on the Montreal Canadiens. On the Montreal Canadiens. He's third in goal scoring. He's been the bright spot of this
Who does he
team.
play for again?
The Montreal Canadiens. Okay. Like this is insane to see a team that is as bad as Montreal right now, and he's third in goal scoring, and he's scoring goals against good teams, against good goalies.
Yeah, they're barely averaging 3 goals a game, and he's on pace for over 50.
Yeah, yeah. Just imagine if you had the rest of the team could do something. If they could have, like, I just don't understand how this team has a guy on the line in their lineup like Brendan Gallagher that just goes out there and just, especially this year, and just plays his ass off, and they can't get behind that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I don't know. It's frustrating. Again, are we gonna end up getting a very good draft pick out of it? Probably. But is Demidov coming next year? Yes. Is he probably gonna be on the team? Yes.
Is it going to be compared to Mitchkov? Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Is the future bright? Yes. And we continue to preach patience, but it is tough to watch.
Yeah. At the end of the season, there'll be 3 full seasons in to a
Right.
rebuild.
Right.
That's when you really need to start seeing improvement.
Yeah.
in the outcomes,
Yeah.
not just individual.
Yeah. When
So
I look at next
young guys showing
season,
up.
if anything like this happens next year, you got to start thinking that it's you're going to start saying that like management, not necessarily management, but probably coaching starts to get a
Yeah,
look at,
unfortunately, yes.
right?
I don't think it's St. Louis'
Be-
fault.
no, I wouldn't say so, but it's you got to like they're going to start stocking the shelves. Prospect pool is stacked right now. Arguably the best in hockey right now. If these
Yeah.
guys pan out, you're gonna get another probably top five, top seven pick, maybe top three, depending on other with how they're playing right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So, all right. So that pretty much covers everything we were going to talk about on this episode. Was there any final thoughts that you wanted to share?
I'm gonna give a shout out to Mike Comito. Go out and buy his book, Habs 365. Makes an excellent Christmas present. He also does one for the Leafs called Leafs
Boo.
365. And he also has his two other books as well. Now he's working on one for the Bruins. So go out there, support him. Very good guy. Follow him on Twitter. Follow him on Blue Sky. Follow him wherever he can be followed. Very, very nice guy, and he definitely deserves all the accolades. That's for sure. He puts in a hell of a lot of work.
He's a really good Sudbury boy.
That's right.
No, yeah, I echo that sentiment. Mike is man, his stuff is really good. It really is. There's some stuff in there that you're reading it, and I keep it day by day, so a little treat at the end of the day, and you're like, oh, I forgot about that, or oh, I didn't know that. So he's got
Yeah.
some good information in that book. I'm not saying go buy the Toronto or Boston one because, but you do you. Do whatever you want. Reading's
Yeah.
good.
I'll
Um,
I'll throw one more thing out there too,
yeah,
because Don Cherry's not around to do it anymore. Canadian Forces lost a deployed member a couple days
yeah.
ago. We had the repat here in Trenton just a few days ago as well. He was deployed to Europe. Died of medical complications. It was Lieutenant Colonel Kent Miller. So yes, we're not in a war anymore, but we still have deployed soldiers all around the world. So remember to have those deployed members in your thoughts, especially when we come out to the Christmas time, when all these guys and gals are deployed around the world and they're not with their families. So just kind of take a moment to think of them.
Yeah, yeah. That's not the best news to be given. I know that much. But all right, well, to come off of that downer, my condolences to his whole family and all his friends, his unit, everybody around him. Uh, I know it's a terrible loss and it's going to be felt, but um, and our condolences may feel cheap, but they're there. Um, so anyway, I want to just thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing our stuff. You can find us on Blue Sky now as well. All three of us, plus the podcast, we are all on Blue Sky as well. Um, so check us out there. And remember, if you're talking about it, so are we.